Alexander Hamilton.
Or have you, any of you, heard of Alexander Hamilton? Not the person, the musical. The musical in the US. Wow, that's a lot of you. More than half of you. That's amazing. I have to confess, I had not heard of it about a year ago until I was interning somewhere and they took us to this place to watch the play. I was about to not go, so I'm very glad I went. All right. So today we're doing writing. Are you guys excited for writing today? Oh, sorry, no, we're doing reading today. Are you excited for reading today? Okay. Most of us are excited. All right, let me share this. Looks like we have some new people in the class. Remember what we talked about. If we're not excited, we gotta be excited, okay? This is not gonna help you if you come into this with this attitude of not being excited. So let's get excited. I'm gonna do it once again. Are we excited for reading, my friends? Let's try this again. Are we excited for reading? All right, we're doing better. 10% increase in excitement. I think that is really good. Or a 50% decrease in unexcitement. So let me show this again. Great, we're excited for reading. We have 8 stragglers, that's okay. It will sink into them slowly. All right, so reading starting, but as usual, we will do our usual math question. From now on, the structure will change. We will do math question and writing question both to keep that skill fresh in our brains as we keep going through the material. Cool. So let me share my screen and then oh, actually, hey, we gotta do the question. You know what question's coming up, right? Do you know the question? Do you promise to follow the steps before doing the math question? Do you promise to follow all the steps before doing the math question? All right, we have people promising. Okay, it looks like the same 6 people are not promising. That's okay. They're probably new to the class. They'll understand. Okay. All right, let me share my screen. So today we are doing question 19. But before we do question 19, folks, I got to review this with you, okay? I don't want you forgetting on me. We want to highlight important information, write down values, equations with units, write the ask very clearly. Then please read through the options before you do the question. Read through the options and try and figure out what's the patterns in the option. And then the most important part of all, you have to look and go in this order. First, eliminate MCQ, then plug and chug, then narrow down. Only then you do calculator and algebra solving, okay? So this is what we have. So we are doing question 19. So let's get started. I will open up the poll. Please follow the step. You have to follow the steps. All right, 10 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and poll. Okay, so I gave you guys a full minute to do this question. And in that minute, I got half of the responses. So this was quite a difficult question. There's a lot of trigonometry you have to do to get the answer in this question. So I'm gonna do a poll. Who was doing trigonometry for this question? Who else was also doing trigonometry for this question? So write yes if you're doing trigonometry, write no if you did not do any trigonometry. Okay, 64% of you were doing trigonometry for this question. 64% of you. Okay, now look, I really want you guys to look at this again. Look at this question again. Spend another 30 seconds and try and find a different way of doing this question that does not require any trigonometry. Can you do it in a faster way? All right, I'm going to do the poll again. I'm going to ask you guys, have you found a faster way than trigonometry? Okay, all right. 60% of you have found. So let me read through this question. Let's do it. So we have a diagram, okay? In ABC above, so the entire triangle. What is the length AD? So this is what we're looking for. This is the ask. Then we read the options. 4, so maybe 4 is maybe equal to 12 divided by 3, right? 6 is interesting. That's 12 divided by 2. So why would they give us 12 divided by 2? Okay, that's interesting. And then 2 other trigonometries that don't immediately jump off to me as a solution or as to why they have that there. So the key to notice here is that if this is 30, this is also 30, which means that this is 60. So if that is 60, this is also 60. So this is now an equilateral triangle. And if you know this is equilateral, then you know this is 12. This side is also 12. Therefore, AD is equal to 6. It's half of 12. And so we had to do no trigonometry at all. Does this make sense? Does this approach make sense? Awesome. So again, this makes sense to almost everybody. So again, I just show you this because this is a skill you have to practice. Please practice the skill of trying and finding the faster way to do the question and looking at the options. If you look at the option and you notice there's one that's 12 divided by 2, you should think, why did they put that there? Even 12 divided by 3, why did they put that there? Is there a method that I can look at that I may be missing? These options are your best friends. Okay, so let's do the writing question. Okay, so we will do writing question number 1. And I want you to use the tools, whatever tools makes the most sense for you. I want you to use those tools. Okay, another 10 seconds. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right, so let's go through this. Some of you guys are struggling. So this is an added delete type of question. So what do we do first? We read the question. At this point, writer is considering adding the following. So should he add this sentence? Yes, add, or no add. So this is remove or not add. And this is add, right? So we don't make that mistake. Then we read the passage. So what's the point of sentence 1? Tech for past info, okay. point of sentence 2, with the aid of computer technology and 3D printing, create accurate models. So tech make model, all right? And then we leave a space for the sentence, P3. These models have expanded researchers' knowledge of ancient species and swear to advance the field of however you pronounce that in the years to come. So tech, or no, sorry, not tech, model. Model advanced knowledge, okay? This is what we have. And then PI, which is what we're inserting. Fossils provide P with the convenient way of estimating age of rock. So fossil to estimate age. So if you start to look at this, then you should realize that here we're talking about tech, and models, but this does not really relate. Using fossils, it relates ever so slightly, but the point, if we do point of passage or point of para, what's the point of para is usability of tech, right? Usability of tech in however you write that word. This is the point of the paragraph. So using fossils to determine the age does not really relate to the point of the paragraph. So this is why we cross out both of these. But again, we then go back and then we look at every single option because it supports a paragraph's argument with an important detail. Well, it doesn't really support the argument, usability of tech, so nope. It provides a logical transition from the preceding sentence. Absolutely not a logical transitions. We're talking about models here, and then we're talking about fossils in the middle. So no transition either. Because it's not directly related to the point of the paragraph. That makes sense. And because it undermines many claims of the paragraph. The keyword undermine here is incorrect. It's not going against it. If anything, it is ever so slightly tangentially related, but it's not undermining. So this is why we can cross out D. And so we're left with C as the right answer, okay? So this approach is helpful because if you lay it out in this way, you can see the mistake. I think that the other cause of error that can happen here is you try to, in your head, you are joining this sentence to these two sentences in your head, but try not to do much in your head. Just keep it all on the paper. What's in the passage is in the passage, okay? All right, let's do this one as well. Let's do one more, number 2. I will relaunch the poll. Oh, wait, let's look at pronouns. Yes, thank you, sorry. One more thing. These models here, we have a these models pronoun. Thank you, Aparna. So you will notice that there's a continuity of models and these models. So pronouns are very important. Thank you so much for that catch again. Aparna is going to crush the writing section. All right, we're doing number 2. Sam, is this okay? Cool. All right, another 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and poll. Okay, so this is sort of a new type of question, and we will touch on this type of question a lot in the reading section. But essentially, if you look at the meanings, swear and vow are very strong. They're very strong words, right? It's a vow is usually taken by a human, and swearing is also, it's very, very strong. And so because it's too strong, this is why we remove A and C. Subscribe is just, it's completely different meaning. So we remove B for that one. Promise is, again, it's done by humans, but it's not as strong as vow and swear. And promise is sometimes used to talk about potential. So that's why the right answer is promise. And I want to show you where the source of this is coming from. Where did it go? So if you go on Khan Academy, this is what it shows you. So it says, swear means to make a solemn vow, but models can actually swear to do anything. Subscribe, this isn't an appropriate word choice. Subscribe means to follow or endorse. These models aren't following anything. Vow, this is not appropriate. Vow means to make a solemn pledge, but the models can't actually pledge. Promise, this is the best choice. Promise is often used to indicate that something has potential. So these models promise to advance the field of paleontology. Makes the most sense in context. So I'm showing you this because I want you to follow this approach where you do the question, then you check the answer in Khan Academy and make sure that you have the right reasoning, okay? All right. So let me stop screen share for a second. So now we're gonna start writing. So the writing is, I said earlier, writing is difficult to teach. Sorry, reading, I keep forgetting. I said earlier, reading is difficult to teach because I cannot force you to read the passage in a way that it will stick in your head, right? I can only tell you to fall in love with the passage or box the subjects, underline the verbs. These are all tricks, but essentially these tricks are getting to your head in convincing your brain to be very involved with the passage. If you do that part yourself, if you yourself read the passage with a lot of involvement, then the rest of reading is actually quite easy, and I can teach you that. The reading is actually very, very easy once you can read the passage once and have it in your head as a working knowledge of what happened. It's like watching a movie. When you watch a movie, you walk out of it, you know what happened in the movie. Just like that, for 3 or 4 passages in the SAT, you just have to convince yourself to be really involved. And what if you do that part, if you guys do the part of being involved with the passage, I can teach you the way of doing the answers. But if you don't do that, what I'm going to teach you afterwards is not going to make sense. You won't be able to leap to that. You'll have to keep referring back to the passage, which is not so good. So I want to show you something. I want to show you something, and then I'll show you a passage which I want you all to read, and then we will discuss the passage. So this is a passage that actually it's a short story that became extremely popular on the internet. There's been many videos made about this. This even came in the Stanford Daily. Stanford has a publication. So this was even in the publication. Has anybody heard of The Egg? I'm gonna do a quick poll. Has anybody heard of the short story, The Egg? Okay, few of you have, okay. All right, so, but most of you haven't, 90% of you haven't. All right, so The Egg is a very, very interesting story, and it even came in the Stanford Daily. And then they, like Krudzegard made a video about it. If you know Krudzegard, really great science channel. So here's the story. So let's read the story together. And by together, I mean you guys read the story in your head. And now we'll keep scrolling down. All right, you should be finishing up now. Another 20 seconds. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, stop share. All right. Were you all able to finish the story? Yes or no? Were you able to finish the story? Okay, some of you were not. I'm sorry, you can go and read it online. There's also a nice video. Actually, I would recommend everybody to watch the video afterwards to make it a separate point, which we'll talk about later. Okay. Another question, was this story engaging? Was it interesting? Or was it profound maybe? It's very well known in the philosophy realms. So, wow. Okay, amazing. 98% of you found it interesting or profound. It is a really cool story, I agree. Okay, I love it. Okay, great. And notice how before I introduced this, I showed you the Stanford Daily article, I showed you the video. Why did I do that? I did that because I want you to be sort of anticipating or be in awe of what is about to come. Okay, I want you to be like, oh wow, this is really cool. People talk about this. This is popular. This is interesting, right? I want to build that up in you. That's why I did that, and then I showed you the story. And I didn't lie. The story is very popular. You should watch the video also. But so okay, so it was interesting. So let's do this exercise now. I want you guys to write down in chat what was happening in your head when you were reading the story. What was going on through your head? So it's an open, let's leave it open-ended. Let's leave this question open-ended for now. But just what was going on through your head as you were reading the story? Someone was anticipating the climax. I love it. What is going to happen next? Yeah. Reflection, okay. I am everyone, I love it. Okay, whoa, this is not what I was expecting. Great, so it's something that crashed your expectations. You were visualizing, perfect, I love it. Nimisha was visualizing the story, really good one. Shreyas watched the video, so she was replaying the video in your head. I love it, okay. Aditya was, oh, this sounds fun. Someone related this to Black Spider-Man by logic. Awesome, I love it. So I'm assuming you enjoyed Black Spider-Man, so you were relating that, so enjoying the story. Did not see that coming. Recalled everyone talking about how human consciousness is a single unified stream and all. Okay, so you became philosophical, absolutely. Interesting, visualizing, love visualization, more visualization from Samriddhi. What if it happened in real life? Meha, yes, I love it. You were not reading this as a fake story. You were like, this is true. What would happen, right? Like, let's say this happened to your friend. How interested would you be? What was going to be happen? More anticipation, reflection. Some more people Gayatri was reflecting on herself, if I should ignore other people. Surprise, intrigue, visualize, question the purpose of life, my view on the world change. Ahan automatically fell in love with the story. Ahan, you are the best. This is great. Thinking about how creatively it's been written. Yes, appreciating the creativity, appreciating the literature in the story. Aparna, you put yourself in the story. You're a fetus, you're the egg. Absolutely, I love it. You're thinking of Eggs Benedict. Okay, I'm not sure if that helps you. If Shiv, that Eggs Benedict help you for reading the story, great. Connecting it to reality. Focus the story, which sparked my interest. Thinking I had been reincarnated as a cookie with a K. Okay, is that a something? Is that, I don't know, a cookie with a K? Okay, great. Okay, great. So many of you found different ways to relate with it, right? So to summarize, some of you used anticipation. Not knowing what's going to happen, the anticipation, you were like, oh, let me read more, let me read more. Okay, let's say the story did not have a climax, but you get to the bottom of the story, but because of the anticipation you built up in yourself, you were still very engaged with the passage. So my point is, this anticipation can be used for the passages in reading also. You can just read it like there's a cool climax at the end, which never comes, but doesn't matter, because by the time you reach the end, you have anticipated it, the story, and you read it. Others of you visualized. I think visualizing is so important. A story like this, you visualize the person. What does the person look like? What did the truck look like? What does the figure, the male female figure look like? What does the black expanse look like? When he slapped him on his back, what does that look like? How did that feel? You know, all those kinds of visualizations that the more you visualize, the more you interact with the story. Some people put themselves in the shoes of the protagonist. So you said, what if this happened to me? Some people put their friends in the shoes of protagonists. Like, what if this actually happened in real life? I absolutely love that. Make this about something or somebody that's really close to you. Let's say your younger brother or sister, family member went through this kind of experience, or went through the experience of any passage we do in reading. Then the level of interest you will have with that, okay? Some of you, Ahan fell in love with it. Great, you're using the falling in love with it even before it happened. What else was there? Many of you reflected on your own lives. You read this and then you reflected on your own lives. And so just reading the passage and being like, what can I learn from it? How can I grow from this passage? Every single passage in SAT reading has some information or something useful in it. And so how can you grow, or how can you learn from that passage? Thinking about that will also make you more involved. And I think there was one other interesting one. Oh, relating it to Black Spider-Man. I like that also because you're relating it to something you like. So again, you were involved with it. And oh, the other one, yes, appreciating how well the story is written. So if you appreciate how well the story is written, that is also really good, because you're learning to see the beauty in just words strung together on a piece of page, right? This is just black ink on a piece of page, but you have the intelligence and you've been educated to see the beauty in how this black ink comes together to create the story, which evokes such emotions, such different emotions in these people, right? Yesterday, we talked about how words have power, and this is exactly that. This passage has a lot of power, and there's a lot of beauty in an author being able to put together, in such a short passage, only 2 pages, put together such deep and immense philosophical thoughts, right, in this passage. So learning to see the beauty in writing is also a great way to be involved. So I hope that through this exercise, I really want you guys to use any of these. It really doesn't matter what you'll use, but use any of these approaches with the passage. The key is your ability to be involved with the passage is independent of the passage. You can be anticipating, you can fall in love, you can connect it to reality, you can be philosophical, you can be reflective, you can assign it to your friends or family or yourself, you can put yourself in the protagonist's shoes. All of these things are independent of the content of the passage, okay? It's all in your head. So it's about building that up. So I show you this because you have the ability to do this. All of you just showed me and demonstrated me the skill of reading. So actually, we've only read the story once for most of us. So I am going to do a quick yes/no question. So do you all remember how the man was killed? Do you all remember how the man was killed? Yep, 94% of you remember. So he was killed by a truck, right? Okay. Do you all remember what was the first question that he asked this God figure? What was the first question that he asked the God figure after he died? Do you remember the first question? Well, I guess it wasn't actually the first question, but he asked about the first thing he said was what happened. But I guess the first question he asked was my kids, my wife, right? And so God was happy about that. Okay. Do you remember what was the action that they started to do? What was the first action that the two figures started to do together? Do you remember the first action or activity that they started to do together? Okay, they started walking, right? They started walking. Now, can you write down in chat, where were they walking? Can you write down in chat, where were they walking? And if you can get the exact word, that would be even better. What was the exact words that were used in the passage? Okay, most of you are along the same lines. The exact words were nowhere in particular. So he asked, where are we going? Nowhere in particular. So nowhere, nothingness. This is fantastic. You guys are getting it, okay? Do you remember the age? Do you remember the age of the person when he died? What was his age? Nice. Wow. Okay, I love it. Great. People putting in the chat. I love it. Wow, that's amazing. Really good. Okay, wow. Do you remember what he was going to be reincarnated? We'll just do all these in chat. Do you remember what he was being reincarnated as? And extra points if you remember the time also when this was happening. Yep, Chinese peasant girl, 540 AD. All right. Can you point out to? Can you write out various examples that were used by this figure for people that he was, or that the God figure said that he was? What were some examples that were used? Yeah, so Hitler and Jews, those were very strong. They stick in our memory. You're right. Let's think of some more. Wow, John Wilkes. Yeah, maybe you know who that is. I actually don't know who that is. So maybe you were able to. There was Jesus and followers. Absolutely. Many of you got Abe Lincoln. Yep, Abe Lincoln, Hitler and the people he killed. Yep, amazing. And then, do you remember who all is in this universe? How many people are there in this universe? Only two of them, right? It's only you and me. Okay. And what is the requirement for him to be born? What is the requirement in the passage for him to be born? The God figurine says there's a once you do XYZ, then you will be born. Yep, live all the lives to mature. Amazing. Okay, so we'll stop this here. So I want to show you. I want to do this exercise because you've read the passage once, you haven't highlighted anything, you haven't underlined anything, yet you remember random facts like the guy's age or the year in which they were going to be born, or the examples that the human beings gave. Right? Is this not an interesting capability of yours? I'm going to do a yes/no poll. Are you not intrigued by your ability to remember facts and details from this passage? You are, right? So this goes back to the question where there's no such thing as you have bad concentration. There's also no such thing as you are bad at reading passages. I disagree with that. The exercise we just did, maybe you didn't get all the questions. The questions I was asking, I was looking at the passage. I definitely didn't get all of them. But if you got any of them, you were able to keep in your head this 2-page passage and answer these questions, right? So I'm really wanting to stress to you that if you read the passage once with full involvement, you don't need to read it again. And the best part is, let's say you don't remember what the age was of the man when he died, but you know where in the passage that happened, right? You also know where in the passage they talk about the different examples. You know where in the passage is the requirement for him to be born. And you know where in the passage his future incarnation is going to be, right? You may not remember the details, but you definitely know where in the passage that's located because you read it once with so much involvement. So that's the real key here. The key is if you can really read these passages with that much involvement, then you don't need to go back and read it again. You just need to go back to the place where that information is and double check if you have that answer. Okay? So does this make sense? Does the point I'm trying to get across, is it making sense to you? Okay, super. So we spent a lot of time on this because this is important, but this is also the only time we're going to spend on this. Like I said, if you can promise me that you will do your bit and read the passage with full involvement, then I can promise you I will give you some tools that you will make this passage really easy for you, okay? So please, please just fall in love with it, do whatever. So the last exercise I have now is into chat. I want you guys to write down whatever method you like the best, or whatever methods you like the best to read the passage actively. This is called active reading. Active reading. So whatever method you like the best for active reading, please write it down in the chat. Awesome. And I want you guys to read what other people are writing also. I want you to just go up and read into what they're saying. They're talking about read closely, visualization, appreciate the writer's use of language, underlining, think of a plot. Imagine I'm reading a book in my bed. Imagine you're the protagonist or antagonist. Visualize, economic stakes, reading closely, highlighting keywords, note important details, think of the deeper meaning of the text. Just get interested in what the passage is talking about. Really treat it like a story. Fall in love with the passage. Anticipation, great one. I like judging people, so just keep judging it like a critic or something. That works, yeah. Visualize the scene. Read for reward. I'm not personally. I'm not too convinced with the outcome-based reading because that adds pressure sometimes. But when you fall in love with the passage, there's no pressure. Think outside the box. What's going to happen next? Reread if you don't understand. Yeah, but hopefully you read it first time around in such a way that you understand. Okay, so we get the point. All right. So we'll do an actual SAT passage now, but from now on, I will in next classes I will talk through a set of tools that will be very helpful for reading. So please, I want you to make sure you have the passage printed, paper 1 printed. We're going to go through the first passage. We'll spend a lot of time on that passage. We'll get to know it very intimately, but the tools you will learn will be very, very helpful in answering the questions. Okay, so let me put up the passage 1 from paper 1 on Khan Academy. And I want you to use these tools that we just talked about. All the discussion we did, please don't let it go to waste. Really, this is another story. So again, use the same things in the story and just fall in love with this passage. Or do whatever works for you, but just please read this very actively. Oh, sorry, did it become blurry? 1 second. Okay, I should be okay now. Let me know if it's still blurry. Okay, let me change that, sorry. Okay, what about now? Okay, super. And if you're falling out of love with this passage, fall back into love with it. All right, I'll give you another 20 seconds on this page and then I'll scroll. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And hopefully if you have this printed, you are reading it on the printed page. Okay, are you still reading? Are you done with the passage? The question is, are you done with the passage? Okay, I'll give you another 20 seconds. All right, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I hope you all did the homework and you read this passage already, or you have it printed, so it's in front of you. We're not going to be able to spend time in class and read the passages together. We only have time, so please do this reading section, read the passages on your own. Otherwise, you won't be able to keep up in this class, okay? So please read the passages before. Okay, so don't look at the passage. I'll ask you a few questions, and again, I want you to put it into chat, okay? So what's the mother's name in this passage? Okay, perfect. Chi. What is the weather outside? What's the weather like outside? Damn cold. Okay, great. And actually, I'm going to ask these questions. You can refer to the passage. I'll let you refer to the passage if you have it printed. Can you remember exactly what was written on the card, the guest card that came? What was written on the guest card for Akira? What was the name of the university? Kobe Dental College, right? Maybe you didn't remember that, but you remembered where it is in the passage, right? Okay. Let's see. What is their house called? What is the name of the house? Like, what's their family's house called? Fuji. Nice. Okay. And if you don't know that, do you know where to find it? You should be able to find it in around line 69, Fuji. What action did Akira do before he left? What action did Akira do before he left? And was that action the same as when he met the mother for the first time? Was the action before leaving, and was it the same? Yep. And then where did Naomi meet Akira? Where did Naomi meet Akira for the first time? Literary club. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I hope this sort of quiz approach is exciting. Should be fun, right? It's like testing your ability to remember. My approach for doing these passages is to do it like this, and you notice maybe you don't remember maybe you don't know these answers, but you know in the passage at least where to get it from. That's the benefit of doing active reading. Okay, so we will do question 1 together, and then I want to introduce the first, we'll introduce the first postulate of today, and then we will delve deeper in future classes. Okay, so let's do question number 1. Wait, I'll open the poll. And look, again, you have to have this printed, otherwise you will struggle to do this question. I can't scroll up and down. Please print this passage. All right, another 20 seconds. All right, awesome, great, and Paul. Okay, so most of you got this right, but so let's introduce the first the first postulate for today, or the first key reading a tool. So we call this keyword analysis. Is that how you spell analysis? Analysis, yeah, okay, I think so. Keyword analysis, this is the first thing. So when we're reading the question, the keyword analysis happens in the question. So when it's very similar to math. So what choice best describes? So we want to highlight best. Best describes what happened in the passage. What happens in the passage? So it's like a summary, right? We won't write summary, but the keyword here is best describes. So it's like sort of like approximations. Then when we move on to the options, again, we want to be careful of the keywords and make sure each keyword is correct. So we have one character, argues is a keyword, with another character who intrudes on her home, all right? We know that there's not arguing, and there's also no intrusion. We'll come back to this, but let's keep going. One character receives, yep, surprising request from another character, okay? One character reminisces is a very keyword, about choices she made the choices over the years, another keyword. So this option is talking about many choices made over many years by a female character, okay? So this is the keywords here. And then one character criticizes, so there's criticism, another character for pursuing an unexpected course of action. These are the keywords, okay? So maybe you have some more keywords, but these are definitely some of the key keywords. Okay, so the first part is keyword analysis. And the second part is evidence-based approach. Okay, so this second part here is going to be the essence of reading. This will be the thing that we practice the most. And this is the skill that we have to improve as we go along. So what does evidence-based approach mean? It means for each keyword, it has to be supported from evidence in the passage, okay? So the right answer is B. So I want you to look in the passage and write down in chat, what line number can you find to support this keyword, surprising request? What line number can you find to support the keyword surprising request in the passage? And I guess, okay, fine, I'll go up here. But tomorrow, please have this printed out or have this open in your chat or in your computer. Okay, I want you to now find a support for this in the first 60 lines. Okay. All right, let's stop. We're struggling a little bit. Okay. So notice we're talking about surprising request. Some of you are talking about who is it at this hour, which is over here. This is not about the request. This is more about a surprising visit. We're talking about a surprising request, right? Naomi's breathless reaction. I think this is a good support for surprising request. I think you may be right. I think the answer might be over here, which is, what did you guys put? 60, you put 60. Suddenly, she felt the dampness of night. Yep, this is good. Suddenly is the key here, right? What was the other? I think 60 was the biggest one, right? Someone put 72. What's in 72? Okay, abruptly his voice turned gentle. This is again not about the request. So let's be very accurate here. It is abrupt, it is surprising, but it's not about his request. Abruptly something else happened. 85. Yeah, this is a good one. Imagine he thinks he can marry the Fuji heir. Very good one. Yep, this is a good one. Again, surprising request. Great. Okay, so now let's try and find support for receives. So again, can you put a support for receives? Yep. Okay. So most of you are getting 59. Yep. So here's the request. I've come to ask for Naomi's hand. This is the receives the request, right? There's a question. A question came about how can it be surprising if Naomi already knows the request? So this is where it's important. Who is another character here? The other character is not Naomi. The other character is actually Chi, because Chi is the person that's receiving the surprising request. And to Chi, it very much is surprising. Chi does not know this, right? And can you, in that vein, actually, can you find the line where it proves that Naomi knows about this request? Can you write down the line? Where is the proof that Naomi knows about this request? Okay, this one is a good one. He has asked you is a good one. There's a better one. There's a more direct line. I mean to have him in as another good one, but actually I mean to have him as not a good one. This is not direct. It does not directly relate to she knows. This may be she wants to marry him, sure, but this does not directly relate that she knows. The key is, does Naomi know anything of your ambitions? We have an understanding. This is the key where we know that there's a request. Okay. All right. So today we'll only have time for looking at the correct answer, but yeah, we'll stop here for today. Starting tomorrow, we'll look at how to then disprove the other answers. Okay. So we are at a class for today. So in summary, keyword analysis is the approach. In reading the question, highlight the keywords, and then evidence-based approach for proving or disproving the keyword, or proving or disproving what keywords are there. So we only prove today. From tomorrow onwards, we will disprove. And then I think if we have time tomorrow, we will get to do a really cool trick, which I will introduce later. All right, so let me send you out with the rest of Hamilton, and then I will see you tomorrow.